to succeed.
The success of the Nigerian Navy in our state in the areas of oil theft, the state government have given all the necessary support. We have collaborated with the command, supported them morally. We're working together. We'll give you all the support. And your duty, among others, includes to reduce, if it cannot be eliminated completely, this crime of the waterways, oil theft, and others. We will not let our people down in ensuring that we protect their interests. We support the genuine cause of governance.
Well, in his address, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, stressed the need for more collaboration, especially in the areas of training, operations, and logistics.
The success of the Nigerian Navy in our state.
In another development, the Rivers State Police Command has confirmed the killing of a police officer, Inspector Sunday Baba. The command confirmed this in a statement posted on its X handle today. It said Inspector Baba, who served at Rumolumeni in Obiakpo local government area of the state, lost his life while on duty yesterday. Well, the command did not provide further details surrounding his death. In other news now, stakeholders are still reacting to the reasons given by the two commissioners who resigned from the Rivers State government after their deployment. Well, yesterday, the former Commissioner for Finance and Budgets, Isaac Kamalo, in his resignation letter, said the inability to sustain peace brokered by President Bola Tinubu has affected his ability to protect and defend the gains made since he became a commissioner. Well, Mr. Kamalo also said his efforts from 2018 to 2023 led to a steady increase in the IGR, but he disagreed with the figure in the media, while former Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General Zacchaeus Adango accused the governor of interfering with his duties by directing him not to defend, oppose, or appear in suits instituted against him and the state government by persons he said were hired and sponsored by the state government. While speaking on this, the former commissioner in the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, Hope Barangotaria, said the former commissioner for finance should be summoned to give records of the IGR during his tenure.
If Mr. Kamalo have issues with the 27 billion IGR, let him controvert it with his records and empirically verifiable figures for Rivers people to know who is lying between Mr. Kamalo and the governor of Rivers State. It is really baffling that some Rivers sons like Isaac Kamalo, Tony Okocha, and others who have been in government before are not really happy that Rivers State is making steady progress, but rather chose to continue to criticize the government.
Well, on his part, Port Harcourt-based lawyer Vincent Chukwu said the former commissioner for finance has more to explain. Moving on, the federal government, the Federal High Court in Abuja, has overturned the arrest order it issued against the Chief of Staff of the Rivers State Government House, Edison Ehie, and 5 others. In his ruling, Justice Emeka Nwite cited potential insufficiencies in the evidence. Recall that the court issued the warrants on 31st January 2024 after the police had declared them wanted over alleged terrorism. While the police claimed that they were part of the group that burned a section of the River State House of Assembly building. To health stories now. The Rivers State Ministry of Health says it is scaling up various intervention strategies to reduce the burden of malaria in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Ore, said this today as the world marks Malaria Day. Mrs. Ore said the state government has been able to sustain these interventions as the prevalence of malaria in the state now stands at 11% compared with the national prevalence rate of 23%. While at an earlier briefing with newsmen, Mrs. Ore said the state government is taking an environmental approach to malaria. Well, the State Commissioner for Health also urged the people of Rivers State to join the fight against malaria in order to change the narrative. The theme for this year's World Malaria Day is accelerating the fight against malaria for a more equitable world. In the same vein, as World marks Immunization Week, the State Ministry of Health says it is focusing on working with communities to ensure that the proportion of the child population in the state who are yet to get full vaccination doses are immunized. The State Commissioner for Health, Ore, said this in an interview with journalists in Port Harcourt.
Efforts are underway to scale up our immunization numbers. We have the state's task force on primary health care, and we have interrogated the gaps in immunization across the state, trying to recognize what the challenges and the hindrances are. And so those gaps are even close.
Well, World Immunization Week is celebrated in the last week of April and aims to promote the use of vaccines to protect people of all ages against diseases. Well, this year's theme is Humanly Possible Immunization for All. Still to come, federal government organized labor to meet on new minimum wage proposal. Stay tuned. To the rest of the news. Environmentalists have urged the Rivers State government to quickly put up measures to ensure the predicted flooding in some parts of the country does not affect Rivers people. The Executive Director of Environmental Rights Actions, Chima Williams, said in an interview with correspondent Suibi Oruwari that the government often prioritizes financial interests over the welfare of citizens.
That reactive posture is there because it provides avenue for our leaders to loot us, maybe from local government or state or federal, say that they have made so and so amount of resources provision to take care. You don't have to wait until a life is lost. The reason why they continue to do it is because there is no accountability. Government don't account to anybody, and people are seeing that the money that is mentioned actually leaves the coffers and it gets into individual purses and bank accounts, and it is not traced.
Another environmentalist, Henry Eferebo, advised the government to construct a water dam to reduce the effects of the flood in the state. On his part, the coordinator of the Rainbow Watch Development Center, Michael Barale, wants the state government to pay more attention to the Orashi region.
The government at all tiers refused to make adequate preparation, and we know the negative consequences, impact that this flood is going to do. We are using this opportunity to call on the Rivers State government, the local government chairman, and other agencies to quickly come to the aid and intervention of prone flood area. We are aware that the Orashi region is directly going to be affected, and we are calling on the government to do everything within our power to ensure that adequate preparation is put in place before the flood begins.
Well, recall that the special advisor to the Rivers State Governor on Environmental Sanitation, Prince Ohia, said, I beg your pardon. In the meantime, some residents of Rivers State have called on the state government to clear the refuse scattered in several parts of the state. Their call follows the dissolution of the Rivers State Task Force and refuse contractors on sanitation in March. Now, the residents from Alu, Omagwa, Rumokparali and Oginibwa areas who spoke with our correspondent also said they have devised various means to dispose of their waste.
I burn my refuse. I don't give it to Aboki.
So there's one river behind where we dispose our waste. If you don't mind, you can just, once you have waste, you can just dispose it there. Though I don't know if it is good or not, or as long as the river, carries it away.
For the dirty wey dey for here, it don't dey a very long time here. We dey expect this way they park dirty as actually before they come here, come visit over this side. But you be like say they just abandon this Alo as is center home Wechi road. And so this dirty they heap here. 2
weeks, 3 weeks before they will not, or sometimes 1 month. The thing will heap the whole of that place. Our booking will come and scatter. Other mad people come and scatter.
Hardly stop. We used to call them. They don't agree stop. They hardly stop here to park dustbin. Now my own message to tell them, say maybe encourage them, maybe they stop here. They gather the dustbins. They wait here.
Well, recall that the special advisor to the Rivers State Governor on Environmental Sanitation, Prince Ohia, said the state government will introduce models that will aid the proper disposal of waste in the state. Away from that, the federal government and organized labor will meet today to consider proposals by organized labor for a new minimum wage. The meeting, which is to take place at the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, will be attended by the government representatives on the Tripartite Committee on New Minimum Wage only. Recall that organized labor had proposed 615,000 naira as the new minimum wage.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Police have arrested hundreds more protesters at locations across the U.S. This is as protests against the war in Gaza intensify across university campuses. Some 108 arrests were made overnight at Emerson College. Earlier, 93 people at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles were taken into custody on trespassing charges. Well, that's the news, but before we go, let's take a look at the highlights. You heard that the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has charged the Nigerian Navy to be firm in the fight against oil theft. The police in Rivers State have confirmed the killing of an inspector in Rumolumeni, Obiakpo local government area. And the Federal High Court has overturned the arrest order against the Chief of Staff to the Rivers State Government House, Edison Ehie, and 5 others. The River State Health Commissioner Adezore has spoken on the government's achievements as the world marks Malaria Day. And the federal government and organized labor are to meet on the new minimum wage proposal. On the foreign scene, police have arrested more students as anti-Gaza war protest intensifies across U.S. universities. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I am Constance Mega. Thank you for listening.